This is the Morning Drive Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
Live with Jamie Lent, Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. You know, Jamie, it seems weird. We're in the midst of spring football, and there have been times when spring football became like our relief of basketball season being over, and so we could get to the spring with that football, and then with baseball taking over. But now it seems like spring football is like on the shelf with this run to the Sweet 16, and you know the hoop madness that's kind of been going on, and maybe that's for the best. You know, those guys can just go over there and work. Not that they're under any kind of cloud of anonymity, but it does feel like it's been quiet, and maybe that's for the best, right?
I guess the surprising part to me is this is not the first time we brought this up. It feels like this is like 5 or 6 years. Our basketball program has been so good that this is the way it's been, and our baseball program has been good, and that spring football has been quieter. It's not like it doesn't matter or anything like that. I think everybody's still excited, but man, our basketball program's been so good. It just feels like, again, I know there's been years where we didn't make the tournament and got knocked down in the first round a couple of times, but I mean, really, it feels like we've turned, March into being about college basketball. And again, your baseball program's had a ton of success, so it's been quiet with spring football for, man, it feels to me for 7-8 years. Yeah, no, and you don't have a quarterback controversy, at least today. Well, you think we do? No, I don't think we do today. Yeah. No, I don't think we do today. I think you could have I think it's going to be interesting in the fall. I think it's going to be interesting to see when, Baron Moore, and I know they say he's ahead of the rehab, and I hope he is, and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going to be I'm going to be the skeptic on this. Just from the standpoint that... Well, then, Jeff, if you are skeptical about it and you are doubting it and you say it's going to be interesting in the fall, clearly you think there's going to be a quarterback controversy. I don't... Controversy may be too strong a word, but I think there's going to be competition, and I am very interested to see how all this is going to play out once he's able to be a full go for the summer, after the spring, that the other quarterbacks get in there and have a chance to get all the reps and develop the bond with the receivers and the offensive line, and they're all used to it. And then all of a sudden, hey, here comes QB1. I think there's going to be a little bit of a, I don't know what the word controversy maybe is, but let's just say after week 1 or 2, you don't really get the performance that you're wanting, and then all of a sudden, well, here we go. Let's put in QB2. I think there's going to be a little bit of drama. So yes, I do. Well, I could be completely wrong. I think that with every quarterback and every year, if he doesn't play in weeks 1 or 2, then we start asking those questions. Play well. Yeah, if he doesn't play well. Yeah. Because you got Cupcake Deluxe, for your non-conference, I guess with the exception of Oregon State. But I don't know. It's just, it seems quiet, and I think that's good. I think it's good news when it's quiet for spring football. And the other thing is that, they had a couple of practices, and then, they had the campus on fire, and then they resumed spring practice on Tuesday. And they're going to kind of piecemeal those out, and then they'll have the spring game or spring event, and I don't know, just it's as long as the men's basketball team taking the headlines, I think that's great. And like you said, this is not the first year that this has taken place, but at some point in time we'll get into position battles and things like that. But I'm real curious as to how all your new guys are fitting in and how that's all meshing together. And some of that you just don't find out until
until we get to the games.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll be as simple as, they look good together in the spring. You got to see how they actually compete in the fall.
Bullfighter, who is the secretary and kind of keeps things, he's the archivist as well. He said that I said, and I believe him, at 7:37 on January 8th of this year, Chuck says Will Hammond will be the starting quarterback for Texas Tech football. Okay. Well,
yeah. I definitely believe him. I think Jeff would agree that you've questioned that. Yeah. You've questioned Behren Morton starting this year all along.
Yeah. The Chuckster lives for quarterback controversies.
Yes. Yeah. And I mean, it's fair to wonder because, he's coming off surgery. So it's fair to wonder.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not hoping for it. I'm just kind of, sometimes I'm the sunshine pumper, and sometimes I kind of swim the other direction. And sometimes some would say I swim the other direction more often than not.
But part of this with you, I'm guessing, just reading between the lines here and things that you've said before, is if things are all equal and everybody's healthy, you're not certain that Behren Morton is the better quarterback, right?
Yeah, that's right. I think Will Hammond has the better arm. And if you want to employ your receivers and you want to go deep, Will Hammond, to me, looks like he has the better spin on it. That's just now. Spin. Behren Morton might be the better leader, might be the better director, might be the better.
Might know the offense better. Pressure. He's more experienced. He reads defenses better. Things. Yeah. I would say Hammond's a better runner than Behren Morton too.
Yeah, and maybe and
he may throw the ball harder. I don't know about how the spin rate. I don't know what that means.
Well, just the way that comes off his hand. It's just like whoa. You just kind of go whoa, wow. That's just me though.
Yeah, but I think
untrained eye.
I think Behren's accuracy and his knowledge of the offense and his ability to read defenses and the experience that comes with playing as much as he has gives him a big advantage over Hammond.
Yeah,
but you might be right. Hammond might have the better upside. I don't know that I would argue against you with that.
Your daily dose of sports and fun. This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
This day in sports history today is March the 26th, 2025. Here is Jeff Dwyer.
Gonna start us off in 1920. Because it was the 79th Grand National. I'm just saying, they had 79 of them well before the NCAA tournament even thought about being a thing. Mm-hmm. Legendary jockey Jack Anthony wins his record third Grand National aboard 6-1 shot Troytown.
Troytown?
I was going to ask if you knew about the jockey, Jamie.
I do not.
Is Jamie our jockey expert?
Well, I just didn't know.
I'm pretty short,
curious.
So maybe that's it.
1952, the 14th NCAA Men's Basketball Championship took place. I bet Chuck can tell us who won.
What year?
52.
That was the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah.
They beat St. John's 80-63. It was the first tournament to have a true Final Four format. 1972, LA Lakers break the NBA wins record by winning 69 of 82 games. The record would stand for 24 years.
Bulls would beat it.
1979, the 41st NCAA Men's Basketball Championship took place. This is a big one. Michigan State beats Indiana State 75-64. It marks the start of a rivalry between future Hall of Famers Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. It's the highest-rated game in history of televised collegiate basketball.
Still to this day?
Probably at that time, but I imagine it's still pretty high on the list.
Crazy.
And in 2003, Andre Emmett scores 29 points to lead Texas Tech past Georgia Tech 80-72 in an NIT quarterfinal game, sending Bob Knight to the tournament semifinals for the sixth time in his 37 years as a head coach. It is National Spinach Day.
Out.
Oh, thank you.
I like it as in its raw form. I have grown weary of the cooked form of spinach. Like if you're adding it like as an additive to a salad or on a sandwich or something, I like it there. Mm-hmm. The cooked form went a little bad with me. Keira Knightley is 40. Martin Short, 75. Kenny Chesney, 57. Steven Tyler, 77. Vicki Lawrence is 76. Von Miller, 36. Marcus Allen, 65. And the dirtiest player in NBA history, John Stockton, is 63.
Wow.
Jamie, you agree with that? The dirtiest?
I don't know about the dirtiest, but, I mean, year after year, he was voted by other NBA players as, you know, the dirtiest or one of the dirtiest. So I feel like he's got to be in the conversation. But, man, there's some other guys that would have to be in that conversation, too. The Dennis Rodmans of the world, the Bill
But they get called on it?
Yeah.
Stockton doesn't.
Stockton doesn't.
So he's dirtier than they are because they got caught.
Yeah. Still loved him as a player.
He played for the wrong team.
I get it, but I'm a fan of a pass first point guard, so.
And in 1997, following an anonymous tip, police enter a mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, an exclusive suburb of San Diego, California, and discover 39 victims of a mass suicide. The deceased, 21 women and 18 men of varying ages, were all found lying peaceably in matching dark clothes and Nike sneakers, and had no noticeable signs of blood or trauma. It was later revealed that the men and women were members of the Heaven's Gate religious cult, whose leaders preached that suicide would allow them to leave their bodies containers and enter an alien spacecraft hidden behind the Hale-Bopp comet.
Oh, yeah, the Hale-Bopp comet.
You know, the thing that comes around every 7,000 years.
Right.
And that is this day in sports history.
Another reason not to wear Nike.
6:49 this morning here on the
In case you
morning
needed
drive.
more.
See, I was going to go, hey, listen to the guys that have the telescopes that say, it's just a comet, people. But that's me.
All right, so the 1979 Final Four game, the national championship game, is still to this day considered the most watched college basketball game. The estimated audience size was 40 million people in 18 million households. The estimated number of viewers increased 20% from the 78 NCAA tournament, which was won by, I believe it was won by Kentucky. And this was all about Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. I mean, it really is the one that just kind of put that tournament on the map. I mean, it obviously was on the map before, but I mean, it it elevated it to a much higher level. For those that remember this game and remember that time, I mean, in that era, the basketball was just kind of in the way to get ready for spring training and the start of Major League Baseball, because the NBA wasn't even on really that much. I mean, that was a time when, the finals were on tape delay. So I don't know. And what's interesting is this game was played at the University of Utah in Salt Lake City. If you had asked me that, I would not have been able to tell you that. And this was the last game that Billy Packer and Al McGuire were with Dick Enberg on NBC. After that, they were split up, the three of those guys. So you had those three and Magic and Larry Bird, and the rest, as they say, is history. But there was really nobody else that stood out from the starting lineups. It was Magic for Michigan State and Bird for Indiana State, and of course Michigan State won the game with the freshman Magic Johnson. Then he would go on to play for the Lakers. I don't know, it's kind of interesting. So we'll see. 6:52 this morning here on the morning drive. Jamie, what's your first NCAA tournament that you recall?
The first one that I can recall. I remember Georgetown.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's my first memory.
Okay, so that would have been like
I would have been 8.
80.
Yeah.
And for me, that was when I was in high school. That 1979 game, and that's when we were. We were selecting. How we did it was we selected teams out of a hat, and those are the teams that we bought into. We did not do a bracket. I don't know that anybody did a bracket back in those days where they filled it all the way out. I'm sure somebody will say that they did, but I don't recall doing a bracket until like probably the mid '80s when it went to 64 teams. And I was right on the 78 national championship. It was won by Kentucky. They beat Duke 94-88, and that's the last time that Duke was successful until Mike Krzyzewski came along and got them into the Final Four in 1986, and then the rest of that, as they say, is history as well. All right, it's 6:53 this morning here on the Morning Drive. Thoughts, comments, Yates Flooring Center chat line. Go to WT973.com for that, of the mobile app. Visual Edge IT hotline is open too at 806-771-0973. So you think tomorrow night's game with Tech and Arkansas is in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 60s? Do you have a feel yet of where this game's going to be, Jamie?
I could see both teams being in the 70s.
Okay.
I wouldn't predict the 80s.
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
We get this. Getting to the Final Four twice in school history doesn't make Tech a basketball school. They would have to get there for maybe 10 years before they could claim that title. That's bunk. That is bunk. I think you're really, really close. I think you're a basketball school. I'm not saying you're a new blood, but I think you're a basketball school with what you've done in getting to the Sweet 16 and overcoming the adversity that your school's had, even though it's been self-inflicted. I think you're a basketball school. Tell us about these large degrees of success for football. Yay, Independence Bowl. Okay, well, that might have been – I might have gotten ahead of my skis a little bit there when I said large degrees of success. And because you had degrees of success with your basketball program despite all the drama that you've had with your basketball program. I mean, going back to James Dickey and what happened with him and his team and the academic stuff that wasn't his fault. Let's see. You can make a bowl game by being at or close to 500. Do that in basketball, and you're not making the NCAA tournament unless you're in the SEC. Okay. If talking about postseason success, would you give the same strength to NIT appearances / wins that you give to the level of bowls that Tech has appeared in the last 10 or so years? I mean, the Tech men, NIT is not something that they've been doing. So, I mean, it's been a while since you've been to the NIT.
That's not a shot at the basketball team. That's a shot at the football team.
Right. Yeah.
And for the purposes of this, yes, I would put the NIT on that same postseason as some of the lower bowl games that you played as football. Yeah. I would call both of that fair.
Yeah. I'll tell you a school that's not a basketball school. That's North Texas. Despite the fact that they've won an NIT championship or won the NIT tournament or whatever. And here I go with my own pet peeve. I hate it when they call it the NIT tournament, and I just did it. It's the National Invitation Tournament, or the NIT. Anyway, they cannot host a home game, Jamie, Jeff, because there's a faculty lunch scheduled and a dance team competition scheduled. So they would have hosted a home game had their arena, the Super Pit, been available, because SMU lost to Oklahoma State, and then North Texas beat Arkansas State at the buzzer. They were in position to host Oklahoma State, but instead had to go to Stillwater last night because the Super Pit was booked for a staff appreciation lunch today that required the court to be removed from the venue, and then a 2-day dance/drill team competition begins on Friday. The athletic director said, "We worked with campus to explore alternative venues, but for a number of reasons weren't able to find another suitable venue for so many attendees. A staff appreciation luncheon cost you a home basketball game." Man, I would have been outraged. Can't you move the staff appreciation luncheon to next Tuesday? I mean, their staff's going to be there.
I mean, we've had things that have caused us to schedule differently at our arena.
I know. I mean, concerts and stuff like that.
I mean,
but
graduation. Yeah. I mean,
it's not basketball, but you could have hosted a softball regional a few years ago. I want to say 5 years ago. It could have been 3 or 4 years ago. But it was the same weekend as graduation, and we didn't have the hotel rooms.
Yeah, no, I know.
And that would have been your first hosting of a regional in softball.
Well, that was unfortunate.
Things happen.
Then. No,
Is
right.
my point. And you're picking on North Texas because it was a faculty lunch. Those people like lunch. You know what? I like lunch. I'm a big fan. You can't get a figure like me without enjoying lunch.
Picking on North Texas. Let's see. Well, they won last night. They beat Okie State in the NIT in the quarterfinals, 61-59, and Chattanooga beat Bradley 67-65. So there you go. Go Mean Green. I don't know when they play next, but they did that. Yeah, and kind of is what it. I guess it is what it is. But anyway, I think Texas Tech's a basketball school. I think you're also a football school, but I think that you're a basketball school. Somebody says, hasn't the Crown Tournament overtaken the NIT? I'm really confused on that on the men's side with the Crown Tournament and the NIT. Just to be honest with you, I haven't looked at the pecking order on that side. I've just been paying attention to the men's side or the WBIT on the women's side. So you could be right on that. Somebody says that's why UNT coaches leave. Okay. This getting to a football championship is getting tougher and tougher. Big 12 is being seen as less like a Power 4. There will soon be a Power 2. Well, I think that's what a lot of schools are positioning for, is to be a part of the Power 2. And that Power 2 may be 30, well, it might be more than 32 teams. Jamie, it might be 50 teams by the time it's all said and done. You're trying to be in that top 50, top 55, whatever that number is.
Yeah, maybe 60. Okay, so call me crazy on this one.
Okay.
All right. Am I crazy for thinking that Texas Tech has as good of a chance to win a football championship right now as they've ever had?
Not crazy.
It's easier to get into the playoff than it ever has been for a school like Texas Tech. And you are spending money with the big boys right now and getting players that you wouldn't have got in the past because of your ability to spend money, along with your coach being a great recruiter. I feel like it's not more difficult to win a championship now. I feel like the Red Raiders have good a chance, heck, this upcoming season as they've ever had in their lifetime.
I think you're right. I don't think you're crazy. It's funny. I saw a soundbite somewhere from Nick Saban, who's talking about how you're going to have to. I mean, this is pretty rich for him to say this about level everything out, and Congress has got to get involved. And he says you got teams spending $30 million. Well, who's spending $30 million? We are. But you got to win now. I mean, you got to win. You got to have something to show for that. And the bare minimum for that is going to be getting into the Big 12 championship game, of which you've never played in it before. So I agree with you, Jamie.
Yeah, it feels like the opportunity is a little bit easier to get to than it once was. I'm not saying it's easy. You still have to be good. You still have to get through the conference and all that good stuff. But man, you win the conference championship game, and then you're in the playoff, and you give yourself a shot. And this feels like in years past we wouldn't have felt like. And then again, you can bring in players. You're getting players now that you would not have gotten in the past. Okay, because of what you're able to do financially. I mean, that's just plain and simple. Yeah. And I feel like you have as good a shot as ever right now.
And you're spending money on both sides of the ball. Yeah, and getting recruiting on both sides of the ball. It's not just one, like it has been at Tech for a very, very, very long time.
And the question I would have is, have you spent enough, and should you have gone out and gotten yourself a big time quarterback?
The Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3 is presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Jamie's question of the day on Double T 97.3 is brought to you by Connecticut of West Texas.
All right, gentlemen, we're talking some Red Raider hoops in the NCAA tournament, but really Big 12 hoops, not just Texas Tech. I want you to list in order, with number 1 being the most likely, the 4 Big 12 teams. Who, in order, is the most likely to make the Final Four? So the team that's least likely will be number 4.
Okay, thank you.
Just trying to help a brother out, Chuck. It's been a struggle at times.
I know. I appreciate the specificity to me. Okay.
Suffering succotash.
BYU is 4, Arizona is 3, Texas Tech is 2, and Houston is 1.
Damn it. Now I got to change my list.
Oh, because I have the same list.
You have the exact same list.
Well, I mean, it's okay. There's nothing that says that you can't have the same as me unless you don't want to be in the same,
Okay, hang on.
pod as me.
Arizona's got to beat Duke as a 1 seed to make it to the Elite 8. Mm-hmm. Tech has to beat not a 1 seed to get to the Elite 8.
Right.
Should Tech win, then things get interesting as the 3 seed. You could beat Florida. You could be facing Maryland. Yeah, I got the same list as Chuck. I can't talk myself out of it.
I think Tech is the most likely to make the Elite 8. I think they've got the easiest matchup in the Elite 8. You guys agree, disagree?
Agree.
No, I disagree with that.
Who do you think's got the easier matchup?
I think Houston and Purdue.
Okay. Our Purdue hate is back.
I'm doubling down.
You're just quadrupling down on your Purdue hate. Okay.
I'm doubling down. I just don't like Matt Painter.
Okay, so
and you're allowed
it has nothing to do with basketball. It just has to do with your dislike of Purdue.
But I do think. I mean, well, here's the deal. I would tell you that Houston has the strongest team of the 4, and is probably the most potent of the 4. So that's truly why I think that because I don't think it's a cakewalk for them. I just think that they've got the most complete amount of talent right now that's available to them.
They also face a chalk bracket. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 left.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got by definition, the hardest run they could possibly have.
I'm going to stick with Houston being number 1, okay, because I think they're the best of the 4, just like Chuck just said. The only difference I have with you two is I have Arizona ahead of Texas Tech, and then I have BYU 4th. I think Arizona is going to beat Duke, and then I think the path for Arizona is a little bit easier than what the Red Raiders have in beating Florida, and I think Florida's really good, and so I really worry about that one. I think Arizona can beat Duke, and then they have a matchup with Baylor, with BYU or Alabama. So I have Arizona 2, Texas Tech 3. I would tell you I would not be surprised at all, and maybe a little bit, if those first three teams made the Final Four. I would be very surprised if BYU did.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'm with you on that.
I think any of those three is good enough to get it done with what they have in front of them. Probably wouldn't expect all three to do it, but I think any of the three are good enough to be Final Four teams with the challenges that are presented in front of them right now.
I would very much like Arizona and BYU both to make the Elite Eight, though. I would enjoy that.
That'd be great.
I'm not pulling for the Big 12 conference, like, as a rule, but I kind of want the Big 12 to shove it up, the SEC of saying, hey, toughest conference in basketball, we'll just own the tournament.
Yeah, I kind of am. I'm kind of with Jeff this year. I think I've got more Big 12 rooting interest than maybe I've ever had before.
Okay. I'll just say this. I think Arizona has the toughest battles because let's just say they beat Duke and Alabama beats BYU. Well, then they have to beat 1 and 2 to get to the Final Four. I think they have the most difficult path.
I'm not saying it's not difficult. I think they can do it.
Okay. And I'm with you. If BYU made the Final Four, that would shock me. Let's see. This is a reference to one of my, missteps earlier in the week or last week. Remember, BYU hasn't been playing very well either. Whoever's playing them should have an easy win, right, Chuck? Why do you guys? I say so many things that maybe you get kind of misquoted or misconstrued.
Misquoted.
Misquoted. Or misconstrued or taken out of context or spun. But like on my stuff that is really good, and it never comes back up. And I know I have some stuff that's good.
Hey, as soon as we get one that's really good, we're gonna remember it. Okay.
Okay. Bobby Hot Dogs. I do not hate Drew Brees. It's the basketball side of Purdue that I don't care for. I don't have any issues with football. It's just the basketball side that I don't care for.
Misquoted.
I feel like sometimes I am misquoted.
What the quote was, the question was, why do you guys...
That one was accurate.
Why do you guys have so much hate for BYU? Okay, and Chuck's quote was, I just don't think they're playing good right now. Very good right now.
Okay, that was one that's a legitimate misstep by me. Okay? That's legit, okay? That was a misstep. Let's see. I don't recall, has Arkansas been a ball-hawking, handsy team this season? Tech has had problems with teams that have been good at causing turnovers. This Chuck and Barron is getting personal and a little annoying. He calls shortcomings, can't compare his numbers to past quarterbacks. It's a different offense, more focused on the run. This is great because this GM hurts feelings, but Air Raid does not win championships. Okay. Well, I mean, I'm concerned about the shoulder. That's it. That's what I'm concerned about. 7:40 this morning here on the Morning Drive.
This is the Morning Drive podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Hey, good morning. It is the Morning Drive on Lubbock Sports Station, Double T 97.3 and Double T 97.3.com with Jamie Lent and Jeff McGuire. I'm Chuck Heinz. We come to you from the First United Bank studio. I'm in Gainesville this morning with the Lady Raiders. They'll play Florida tomorrow in the WBIT. We'll have it for you at 4:30, the tip at 5 Lubbock time on 93.1 Yes FM. So be looking for that tomorrow. We'll have Red Raider basketball on the air for you tomorrow night from San Francisco as they'll take on Arkansas, and we'll have that for you at 8. The tip time is about 9:10 tomorrow night from San Francisco.
Think they're going to have some rice-a-roni while they're there?
I was just getting ready to say, I can't say San Francisco without thinking of Rice-A-Roni, the San Francisco treat. Ding, ding. What if they'll take a trolley car to the game? Would you get on a trolley car, Jamie? Have you ever been on one? You've been to San Francisco?
I have been to San Francisco. I have not been on a trolley car. Would have no reason to fear a trolley car. Yes, I would get on one.
Okay. Yeah, I've been to San Francisco one time, and I've been on a trolley car. I still want to go to Alcatraz, and I've seen the Golden Gate. I don't think I've been across the bay on the Golden Gate, so I think I'd like to do that as well.
Well, if you were to commit a crime out there, Chuck, I bet they could send you to Alcatraz if you wanted to. You wouldn't even have to pay for that.
I want to go
trip.
on the tour, Jeff. I want to see it. That's it. I just want to see.
You don't want to be a resident for a while.
Well, they don't have any. They're no longer taking residents out there.
Yeah, but you're Chuck Heinz. I bet they'd make an exception.
What they should do is they should build a hotel out there, so that people could truly experience it and renovate the jail cells.
There is a hiking trail there that I am absolutely dying to do.
I wouldn't mind trying to swim from Alcatraz to the San Francisco shore to see if it could be done.
Okay.
It'd be awful cold. Water's choppy. You'd have to be in excellent shape, which I'm not right now. This from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Chuck, you are Charlie Brown. Love how they pick on you. Love the show. Okay, well, I do resemble that remark. We get this. Once KU was knocked out in the first round, I found myself being all in for all Big 12 teams. Okay, you're allowed. Let's see. Hey guys, what does chalky mean? I might be the only person who doesn't understand this overused reference. It just means that the top seeds, the most predicted, the most favored team wins, and you just pick that way as opposed to picking based on records and players and gut feel and I'm just going to take the favorite. It means taking the favorite. Is that the best way to say that, Jamie?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Just want to make sure I don't misquote you.
Bucky, there's a lot of sharks in those waters, Chuck. Okay. Somebody else, doesn't Alcatraz have tons of sharks around their waters? I'd have a shark cage. Nobody cares about your San Francisco vacations, Chuck. I'm sorry. Okay, well, sorry I brought it up. Chuck, I thought you said on 3 was wrong about Chavez. I said on 3 was wrong about how they assess that. So yeah, I mean, I thought she was going to come here. I thought it was going to happen, and Aaliyah Chavez decided to go to Oklahoma. And it wasn't about money. It was about fit and style of play, and she liked the coach. And what can we say? She made her choice. Okay? And it's unfortunate. It could have been really cool, but sounds like it was really close between Tech and Oklahoma. I do believe those were the last 2 teams. Washed up guy. All those old sayings have some basis. In fact, in this particular case, it sounds like Chuck's mom has wagered her $1 against someone's donut on some issue.
Okay.
I didn't know my mom to be a wagering type, but she'd always say, "I'll bet you $1 to a donut." So maybe she wanted the donut more than she wanted the $1. I don't know.
I don't think you can get a donut for $1 nowadays, can you? Can you?
See, I bought a couple dozen. That's a good point, Jamie. I bought a couple of dozen donuts yesterday for a customer and a friend, and I think my total was $24, and there were 24 donuts by the time I tipped a little bit. So I think it was pretty close to $1 to a donut yesterday. Okay.
There you go.
There you go. Let's see this. I guess that's pretty much it from the Yates Flooring Center chat line. So that kind of gets us up to speed. There's other comments as well, and you can chime in too. So, Chuck, I thought you were in shape. You said you could swim in the Olympics with the swim team.
Stop misquoting Chuck.
Albert, we suck again. So I guess our teacher source at Monterey yesterday was wrong. Who would have guessed? Right. I mean, everybody had an opinion on that. And
I was very surprised that she didn't pick Tech.
yeah, and I think there was some flipping back and forth even until the very late stages of it. But I'm going to guess here. I think it just came down to what she said, that their style of play and where they were was fit her. So it's unfortunate because they were going to, you can always make changes with your offense and defense and things like that. But I think there was a substantial amount of money that was left here in Lubbock, as opposed to Oklahoma.
I bet you they found some money for her in Norman too.
Oh, they did. There's no question. I just think there was more money here than there. Like I said, if you lost, I believe that if you lost, you weren't going to lose because of money, and I don't think you lost because of money.
So is that a positive thing or a negative thing?
Well, I think it's disappointing that. But if she chose with her heart and where she felt like it was the best fit for her, then good for her for not taking money over that. Because I've said many, many times, you should never take a job for money. And this is a job for these young men and women that are playing at the Division I level, especially where we are right now. So if she had taken the Tech job for money, then that probably would not have been the best decision for her. But if she made a decision based on where she felt the most comfortable and where it was going to be the best fit, then she made that decision based on that. Then I respect that. I'm disappointed by it, but I respect that.
This has been the Morning Drive Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.